Hey, it's the Empire. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon for more videos. We taking over. Let's go, champ. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's go. Hey, it's the Empire. Geoboxing Empire. Back for boxing. Now, man, crazy news, man. Apparently, Dantes Boxing Nation, the biggest boxing channel on YouTube, man. He has a latest video of basically asking Eddie Hearn how he feels about our Haymon entering UK boxing, man. And he basically asked him like, how do you feel about Al Haymon coming to this country and putting on boxing shows? And basically, Eddie Hearn had to wilt and say that I think it's great that he's coming here, and I wish everyone the best. And I think PBC is a great platform. Now, if you actually watch Eddie Hearn, man, in the past he's criticized He's criticized Al Haymon and saying he's going broke and he's paying his fighters too much, and that he's worried that it'll crash. Now his attitude has completely changed, man. He's realized that going against Al Haymon is basically a losing battle. He cannot win, and it showed in his interview, man. He basically, Eddie Hearn basically conceded that Al Haymon's making big moves, and him going to the UK is a huge deal. It's a big deal because it's always a battle trying to make UK fighters big in America. And when you have a seasoned promoter, not promoter, but advisor like Al Haymon, he knows a lot of people in the industry, in the boxing industry, to catapult you to superstardom. Now, if you guys didn't know, most of the time, UK stars, I don't care how big you are, but eventually you're going to have to leave the UK and come to America at some point in your career if you want to become known worldwide, because our media platforms are just that's what we do best. America is really known for their media. Let it be movies, TV shows, or just media in general, and controlling the public news, news-wise, or just anything like that. So the fact is, anyone that Al Haymon signs in the UK, if they're a great fighter, like a Josh Taylor or Chris Eubank Jr., or anyone who hasn't had an American exposure yet, can basically sign with Al Haymon, sign with Al Haymon and become basically a superstar overnight by fighting one of these superstars in America and having travel to the UK or vice versa. So this is a really big deal, man. Al Haymon's been in a tear this year. He already signed Manny Pacquiao, and Pacquiao's fighting Broner later, early next year, and that's a big fight in itself. But this UK move is a really big deal because before then, if you really wanted to go from UK to America and fight a big superstar, you basically had to sign with one of the top promoters, which that would be Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn. That now that middleman has been taken out, now you can just go straight with Al Haymon, and this opens doors to a lot of fighters in the UK. And I'm actually glad this is happening. You got a lot of talent in the UK that's just not being talked about. I think there's a lot of championship level fighters in the UK in multiple weight classes, and they can easily break into stardom over here in America. I personally think Dillian White, if he ever fought in America, he would be a superstar. Dillian White is good enough to be a superstar in America. I mean, there's only a handful of fighters that I think that would be challenging to Dillian White at this point in his career. Maybe a Jalen Miller and either champions, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, or Tyson Fury. But outside of those, Dillian White's basically beaten everyone worth mentioning. So that being said, if he signs with Al Haymon, that would be a power move, and I think that would be in his best interest because, Eddie Hearn, they don't seem to get along. They don't see eye to eye all the time. The thing is, in the UK, there's a lot of fighters that don't really like their promoters. And Eddie Hearn has burned a lot of bridges, along with Frank Warren. If you leave Frank Warren, I heard he'll try to sue you and, make you look bad and bash you. So that's not good. And Eddie Hearn, he'll just straight up, say your heart to work with, or just, mock you and whatnot. So it's just a lot of burnt bridges with those two promoters. And Al Haymon could pick up the leftovers, and, they burned some bridges that I think that was just bad for the career choice. In my opinion, burning the bridge with Chris Eubank Jr. was a bad idea. If Chris Eubank Jr. fought in America, I know the UK will come travel over here because at the end of the day, nationalism is huge over there in the UK. And if you have Chris Eubank Jr., they may hate him in the UK when he's fighting domestic level fighters, maybe Commonwealth champions. But, in my opinion, if he fought an American fighter, all that hatred will soon dispel, and it'll turn into nationalism instead. And all the haters of Chris Eubank Jr. will be calling, Americans Yanks and probably rooting for Chris Eubank Jr. to win these fights. So I think at the end of the day, Haymon going over there to the UK is a big deal. Like I said earlier, I think I mentioned two big names, Dillian White and Chris Eubank Jr., who's actually never been a champion, but who's really big. A lot of people know him in America. I think he's a really big deal. He actually has his own TV deal with ITV, I think. I think that's the name of the TV show. But yeah, man, it's just a really big deal, man. There's a lot of UK fighters that are really big deals in the UK. Me personally, I really like Josh Taylor. He's a really good fighter as well. I mean, I can keep going on and on about naming big name fighters. Josh Kelly's a pretty big fighter. I mean, I can keep going on and on about big fighters in the UK. And if you really want big money and you're coming up, Haymon is the guy for you, So I think that Haymon going to the UK is going to really make the boxing industry a competitive one. Right now, it's sort of like a dual dictatorship between, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. There's not too much competition, and yeah, man. So I think this is a big deal. Basically, Eddie Hearn had to basically concede to Haymon. It's really a losing battle when you trash basically your equal in promotion. Haymon's not a promoter; he's an advisor, but he's basically signed so many fighters that you really can't talk down on the guy because all the biggest fights are without Haymon. You're gonna need Haymon to make these big fights, and a lot of these older promoters, they're relying on this old pattern of, we're going to have one or two fighters represent us, and we're going to pay attention to these one or two fighters. And, Eddie Hearn has Anthony Joshua and, a couple other fighters, but mostly they're on a fight-by-fight basis. But Anthony Joshua is really his main thing. And Frank Warren, he has Daniel Dubois at heavyweight, and, he has a couple other fighters coming up. I think he has a couple other fighters, but, nothing crazy. At least at the world level, not competing worldwide. And then, but Haymon, he doesn't have that motto. I mean, he signs everyone. He has Pacquiao, he has Mayweather, he has Deontay Wilder, he has Keith Thurman, he has Errol Spence Jr. I mean, I can keep going on and on. He has Errol Spence, Jarrett Swift Hurd, he has Jamel Charlo. I mean, I can keep going. I can name everyone basically. He has, he has some fighters from the UK like what's his name? Let me think. God, what's his name? Carl Frampton, there you go. And I can just keep going on and on about the fighters he has. I mean, he has like basically everyone worth mentioning in boxing, to the point where he controls weight divisions because he has so many freaking fighters, So, that being said, it's really a bad idea to cross Haymon and talk trash about him because you're going to really need him if you want to survive. So yeah, man, that's how I feel about it, man. I think Haymon going to the UK is a huge deal because there's a lot of fighters that are really world championship level in the UK who are not getting the respect they deserve or the challenges they deserve. Sometimes I think some of these fighters get bored in the UK, and I think they need challenge. Finding these domestic level fighters are cool and all, but I think they can go further with it. Especially like people like Anthony Yard. I think he's a great fighter. There's just a lot of fighters that can easily break out and be making millions of dollars. They just haven't got that support behind them. So yeah, man, that's how I feel about it. Let me know how you guys feel about Eddie Hearn's, basically praisal about Haymon and him admitting that, PBC is a great brand now. All of a sudden, he's been trashing him for years and saying he's going to go bankrupt for years. And all of a sudden, his tune has completely changed. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is The Empire. Geoboxing Empire. Peace.